Hi, my name is Athena, and I am a certified hypnotherapist. I do clinical hypnotherapy and past and current life regression work. And today I want to talk a little bit about just hypnosis in general. So, what is hypnosis? Now, a lot of people are under the assumption that hypnosis is mind control, and in fact, that's furthest thing from the truth. Now, interesting thing about hypnosis is that the individual in question's mind is actually always in control. And the role of a hypnotherapist is actually to act as if they are kind of like a tour guide with a flashlight, and we simply are shining a light into dark corners of your mind, trying to find the dust bunnies and see if we can make some changes there. But the changes that we're looking to make are ones that are positive changes for you and the outcome that you're looking to have. So things that are situational based, maybe they are emotional behaviors or whatever, and we look to kind of change those, how you view, those situations so that you can have a more productive life. So for example, let's say that your issue is weight management, right? So in your conscious mind, you're saying, oh, well, maybe I eat too much, or maybe I don't eat the right stuff, or maybe I just snack too much. But the real root of, a weight management problem is actually centered in self-control. And the idea is that there is some element of your life that you feel out of control, that you have no control over. And as kind of a self-defense mechanism, you do a knee-jerk reaction and you do some sort of an overeating or poor eating kind of tactic. And so it becomes this kind of sabotage for yourself. So one of the things that we do in hypnotherapy is we do what's called a pre-induction, and it's kind of like a talk therapy session. So in my sessions, for example, I always do at least 2 sessions, and the first session is no hypnosis. And what we do is we go through and we talk about, what are the issues that you're dealing with. We go back and try to figure out the root in your childhood of where this originally started from, and then the filters that kind of overlaid that as we went through time. And we identify, what is the real root cause of the issue. And then from there, I'll craft some specific scripts, and we'll do an entirely separate section or session that is all rooted in the actual hypnosis. Now, what is all that kind of like? So first of all, you're probably wondering what's the difference as far as stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy. So first of all, stage hypnosis has no therapy whatsoever. Second of all, stage hypnosis is kind of like a gimmick in a way. And how the stage hypnotists actually work through this is there are key elements in order to be hypnotized. And the first one is suggestibility. So it doesn't matter if it was a stage hypnotist or a hypnotherapist, your mind has to be susceptible to being in a state of hypnosis. And so, for example, a stage hypnotist will always choose the volunteer that's like, ooh, me, I want to do it. Because what happens is their conscious mind, right, is saying, I want to do this, and sending signals to their subconscious mind saying, this is okay. Additionally, the volunteer who happens to be the eager beaver about it is basically the person saying, I have this jar of trust and I'm really going to give it over to this person to do this, versus the person who's sitting in the audience going, I don't know about this guy. That guy's not the guy that's handing over his jar of trust. So a stage hypnotist will never choose somebody that isn't volunteering and eager to do so, because their whole act actually relies on somebody's suggestibility to be hypnotized. Now, the same is true in hypnotherapy. If a client comes in and they're very nervous about this, that's why I actually do a whole talk session, because part of the second part of this is about trust and rapport. And in order to have trust and rapport between me and the other individual, we have to talk through some things. You have to see, who am I? Do you trust me? How do you feel about me? How do you feel about this situation? What is hypnosis? You want to understand it further. And so there's a certain trust and rapport that has to be built between your hypnotherapist and yourself. And in building that trust and rapport will allow your subconscious mind to say, you know what? I'm okay with this process. So you first have to have the willingness to do so. Second, you have to also have the trust and rapport. So suggestibility and trust and rapport. Now, if I was doing an instant induction, which I would only do if I was actually had somebody, in my physical space, then I could actually get somebody in hypnosis in less than 60 seconds. And in order to do that, I actually would have to do a third mechanism where I do something that actually causes an eye fatigue, and then what happens is I do a certain response that causes the brain to kind of shift for a second, where there's 2 functionings or 3 functionings that are happening at a certain time, and it's trying to process all 3 simultaneously and struggling to do so, which causes a slight disconnect, and then we immediately put you, into hypnosis in that moment. Now, everything right now is remote, so everything I do is online, and in order to go through the actual hypnosis, it's basically like guided meditation. It's really what it is. Everybody has a different kind of guided meditation. We have certain things we do as far as pacing and our tone. There are words that we repeat several times throughout the process in order to get your mind to relax and go kind of deeper and deeper and kind of change the brain waves and the frequency they're at. So we work through that. It's just a comfortable guided meditation. And then ultimately what happens is your mind brings forth the images that it needs to see. And so your mind is the one that's saying, okay, this is what, Susie needs to see. And then from there, we look at, depending on what the issue is, pulling you back and trying to see, do you see this in a slightly different way? How can you see this in a slightly different way? Do we see how this is causing problems in other areas of your life? And we look to kind of reframe how your mind has previously classified that memory, and we look to change it up and then release any of the pain or frustration or fear or whatever it is that you're kind of holding on to, so that the part of you that needs that kind of healing can start to actually heal. And then additionally, it's about kind of like changing the filters that you've always viewed these situations, whether they're about yourself or whether they're about others, so that as you move forward in life, you can approach situations that are similar to this in a more productive manner for yourself. So, hypnosis is actually very, very comfortable, very peaceful, and your brain is always in a self-protection mode. So, for example, if you had a hypnotherapist, which they would not do this, but if you did have a hypnotherapist that actually said something that was negative towards you and yourself, your mind would actually shut that down, totally shut that down, because it's constantly trying to make sure that it is protecting you at all times. And so that's actually the beautiful thing about your mind, is it doesn't really matter what level of hypnosis depth that you are in. Your mind is always going to protect you no matter what is said. So the idea here is that you have to trust your mind the most. And you have to trust, the hypnotherapist that you're working with, and hopefully, they do a good job for you. So that was just a short little bit on hypnosis in general. And I'll do a lot more clips on various components of hypnosis in case you're interested. If you want to reach out to me as you're curious to, hypnotherapy for how it can work for you, my contact information is in my profile. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks.